There we go. So we're going to go over clerk. I think we're just going to jump right in, and if others are going to show up, they can show up whenever they're ready. So I just want to start with I think we have, by the looks of the people signed up, kind of a variety. We've got some that are brand spanking new, some who have been on for quite a while. So I'd like to hit some basic stuff, and then I'll try to kind of breeze over some of the basic stuff, but then go into some of the more detailed ones that seem to catch people up, like survivorship and trust. So we're going to start here. I was going to start right on the screen where the main screen, but I don't think a lot of people realize what the difference is on this map password and this offline. Down here, there's a little checkbox that says offline municipal agent. Most of the time, 99.9 probably, you're going to be up here logging into map. This is your map password. It's the password that DMV gave you when you signed up and you took your classes. However, this down here, this offline municipal agent, that lets you get into Avitar without logging into map. You can't do registrations because they'll never hit map. You can't do anything. It kind of like shuts down that communication with map and allows you to still function as a town only if you needed to. Sometimes we'll have you do that if something you sent a registration, you hit pay, it goes to map, and then it has to come back to us in order for us to hit it, but the internet drops it. We might have you log out of map and go in as an offline municipal agent. When you check this box, note by your password, that map word goes away, and this would be the password to your local avatar. If you have never changed it, your local passwords would all be small case password, the word password. If you change it, just remember, you don't use this often. So make it something that you're going to remember, because we won't know it at that point. If we come in and we say try password, it's because that's what we usually set everyone up as. We're not even going to bother with going in as offline today. It's going to be all map. But I did want to start there to show you what the difference was. And I got to remember what mine is here. Hold on. And there we go. I'll make this big. So yeah. All right, we're going to start with basically most of the time it's going to be motor vehicle, because that's a big beast all on its own. So for those of you who are brand spanking new, there's 3 sections. There's a registration, a titles, and all the other transactions you might want to do in motor vehicle. The only time you are going to be on the title section is if you are doing the title application only. So most of the time, if you're doing a title with a registration, you will be in the top section under registrations, because that's where we'll take you right through the process. Titles only is an example would be, my husband loves his old cars. He may need to work on it though, but he wants to title it to get it into his name. He'd come into his town clerk, Rayma in Bristol, and say, hey, Rayma, can you just title this? She would come down here and do title application only, and then send it off. So that is an example of why you'd use title application only. But other than that, you're going to be up under this section. Now the first, I believe it's 5 now, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 options up top under it are what we call quick links to processes we at Avitar think you do the most. So they are also under your main menus, which are these little arrows down here. These are your main menus. If you are new, unless it's a renewal, come right down here. These main menus are going to give you a lot of options. If you don't know what you need to do, click on renewals. Now you got a lot of options. Because if it's not just a 12-month, it could be a survivorship, or it could be that they want to add a second owner. So these are just the main menus. Get used to looking at them. If we say go to the main menu, this is where we're telling you to go. New registration, renewals, these transfers give you more options. If I was to go to a new, there's a lot of information here for options. So these are your quick links. These are your main menus. View maintenance here, that is just used to view something. You just want to see what the registration is, who it is. There's very little, there's nothing you can change if you're looking at, well, there are some things you can change in view maintenance, but it's usually used to see like who are the owners, one owner or two owner on the registration. Is it, registered already? We'll go into this one a little bit, some of the importance of it, but we're going to just start with a basic 12-month renewal. And I'm going to type in a plate number. You do not have to, for those of you that might have just recently switched from another system, you don't have to put in your plate type or your check digit. We know all that information. Just type in the plate, hit search. It sends it to DMV, and this is what you should be verifying. So if you want to look at that expiration date, especially if you're doing certified copies or things like that, this expiration date is key. If I had to give you one advice at all from a previous clerk, slow down. Just remember, we're all, and I am just as guilty of this as anyone else. We get in that mode of everything, boom, boom, boom. But when we're like that, we make mistakes. That's where we're getting it. Just remember, the one person standing in front of you is just as important as the other standing behind them, and they'll have their time when they get to the window. So if you do nothing else, take your time, make sure you're registering the right vehicles, because we get the calls a lot. And I registered it under the father's name and it should have been the son's name, or I've registered the wrong vehicle. They gave me the wrong, of course, that you can't avoid. If they give you a registration, it's the wrong vehicle. But sit here, actually say it. Okay, so we're here, we're going to select it. Let me move this out of the way. And this is the registration screen here. So if I was here and I wanted to verify it, I would be going, okay, so we're registering your Jeep Grand Cherokee, your 2017 Jeep Grand Cherokee. They're saying yes. You've done about all you can do on a renewal. You've at least verified it with the customer. Yes, you have the registration in your hand. But if that's not if they bought a 2021 Jeep Cherokee and they just brought the wrong one in, you're registering the wrong one. So verify information, use your words, verify it. It's a 2017 Jeep we're doing, right? Grand Cherokee, yes, perfect. You've just saved yourself 2 calls, from one to us, 1 to the state. So, and some time for your customer on getting that, fixed for you. Now, the one thing you will notice here is my decal auto-populated. Yours will not. DMV doesn't want that auto-populated. I physically do not have a packet of decals in my hand, so mine are just auto-generated through the state. So that normally would be blank, and you would then fill in that decal, and then you're going to calc your fees as everything is okay. The other thing you should be verifying, though, before you, besides just the vehicle, is the owner's address. Have you changed address? Yeah. Oh, yeah. I got a P.O. box now. If you do, type it right in. Make sure their legal address is right. Okay. So, oh, yeah, I'm still at 43 Davis Crossing Road, but I have that P.O. box. You should also be checking the second owner. Well, did they change as well? Yep, they changed. You need to change that one. I don't remember what I put in, but doesn't matter. That's their mailing, that's their legal. So always check your owners. If there is a second owner, it says owner 2. If there's only one owner, it would say add owner 2, so you don't even have to bother. But if there is, check it, make sure addresses are correct for both owners before you go forward. Once you know everything looks good, calc your fees, you've entered your decals, and you have your fees here. You should never tell your customer what this fee is right here. Why? Because when you hit next, that's when it sends it to DMV, and DMV is going to check to see whether that customer owes them for short slips or for credits or things like that. So you don't want to tell them this, because this could be different when you get to the next screen. So once you've got everything in there, you look good, we're going to hit next. And it takes us to fee settlement. So here, you haven't gone past the point of no return. There's a lot of things you can do at fee settlement here before you hit pay. So if this customer says, what are you charging me for? That's highway robbery. Before you hit pay, there's this little icon here, a printer icon. When I click on it, it then opens up here to show me a report, basically, that gives it in details. Let me make it bigger. That gives me details on the transaction that we just did. So if you want, you can print it. You can export it. You can do whatever you want. Most of the time, you just print it, hand it to them, and say, here's your fees. It gives you the details. Now, if they say, well, I didn't bring in $176. I only brought in $170. Well, what would you like to do? Would you like to come back? I just need to run down to the local ATM. Perfect. You as the clerk can do this thing called hold cart. This hold cart will put the decals back in your inventory. You're not putting those decals aside for that customer. Why? Because that customer may never come back, even though they say they're going to. You're going to use those decals on someone else. But when I hit hold cart, here it is. It'll be right there. Just got to look up this here. Now you're back to your main screen. So from here, you could wait on your next customer. So we're going to do another renewal, not for that same person. Somebody else was in line. I'm going to do my renewal. And I'm going to type in the next plate. I'm going to search and select it. Now this one, this customer says, okay, Christine is here. And well, this probably is not the best one. I've already messed with that one. Let me try a different plate number here. I want to show you an owner swap. Let me get you a different plate here. So there's two owners on this registration. The first owner here is Alan. And the second owner is Pamela. Her birth month is February. We're currently registering it under his in May. At renewal time, and only at renewal time, can they swap owners. So he's now in May, you're in the month of May here, and he comes in, they both come in and they say, yeah, May's a bad month for us. Can you switch it so that it's registered in her birth month? Absolutely. They're both on it. All you have to do is hit right here, swap owners. It's even going to tell you, okay, you're now registering it in the month of February. So not only are you going to give them your decal for the 2025, but you also need to give them a February decal now to go on their plates. This is called swap owners, and it can only be done at renewal time. So once it's registered, if somebody comes into you when they're registering their new one, and it was under his birth month with the inspection, so they want to swap it, well, tell them to wait till the next renewal, then you can swap it easy. So if they get to this point, you can always unswap it right here. I could unswap it if I wanted to go back. So it's swap or unswap. Looks good, so I'm going to hit next. Now I'm using that decal that was originally on that other person, and we're going to fee settle this. You have to put in their driver's license. Some of you require a phone. In my demo mode, I do not, because it just would make me have to fill in a phone number every time. Put in my check number and I hit pay. I don't have a printer set up, so it's trying to ask me to print something. So.
Hi, Patty, it's Audrey. Can I just ask a quick question?
Absolutely.
Okay, so where it requires the phone, did you just say to me that that can be set by the town clerk's preference?
You betcha.
Whether to ask it or not?
Yep. If I go to utilities, system administration.
Yep.
And then we go to system options right here.
Okay.
And then over here is a bunch of things you could do. So if it's checked right there, require payer phone number, it's going to require me to enter a phone number at fee settlement every time, which
Okay,
is kind of a good thing because then you've got that phone number when you need it.
right.
But if you don't want to require it, then you would uncheck it.
Oh, okay, great.
Yep, yep,
Didn't know that. Thank you.
you're welcome. Get out of there. Now your customer is back. The one that only had $170. You want to retrieve the cart. You don't have to come back here and do it again. You can come to the cart. You go to retrieve cart. You find the one that you just did, which is on, what's today? 5/16. And I'm going to select it. It says enter your next decal number, your 2025. I say okay. And it brings me back here, back to my screen. I didn't have to go through anything else. May not have seemed like a lot with just a renewal, but if this had involved titles, like survivorship, and you had done 3 or 4 titles with registrations, and then the customer needed to go find another title, that would come in handy because you could put it on hold. You don't have to, you can retrieve the cart and you didn't have to re-enter anything. It brings you right back here and you can continue adding to this cart if you decide you need to. So whole cart is really cool. It can save a lot of time for you. Now, clear agent. In Bristol, we had a customer who was not going to pay Bristol another dime to do anything. So he refused to do his municipal agent portion in Bristol anytime. He only did town only. So I knew that because you only did it once for the man and he yelled at you and you never did it again. But my deputy, the first time she did it, she got to this screen and said, well, you owe, a total of 176.20. And he knew exactly what he owed. And he'd say, all right, what are you charging me for? She did the little printer icon here, showed it. He goes, I don't ever register my cars for the state portion in your town. I do it there. This clear agent makes it so you don't have to delete the whole thing. You can hit clear agent, everything then, decals go back into your inventory, and this becomes a town only registration title. Whatever is in your cart becomes town only then. You didn't have to do anything. It just puts all your decals, plates, whatever you had in the cart, and it now makes it town only. So it's used rarely, but just know that it is there if you need to use it. All right. Finish up this one. All right. One of the other things that we do that we get calls frequently on, which is why I wanted to talk about it, are trust, adding a trust. So obviously the best time to add a trust is at renewal time. And don't forget, you can do a renewal up to 4 months early. So if they come into you and it's up to 4 months early to the renewal time, and they want to keep the vehicle registered in their name, their birth month, you can do it under the renewal option. Okay. Let me show you also something that we created a little while ago. Michelle in our office has been working really hard to keep these FAQs up to date. Do we expect you to have a customer in front of you and click on an FAQ and look something up? No. But when you have a few minutes, click on this FAQ. It'll open up in your browser to our help file. If you come here to motor vehicle, we have a bunch of things here for you. Survivorship titles and registrations is one of them. This isn't survivorship, it's a trust. And I think we've got one maybe that might show up under trust at some point. But if it was survivorship, we even say, when are they done? What do you need to have? Some questions to ask your resident or to ask yourself. These are nice, handy tools made to help you. They don't help us. We're not standing there in front of you. We're not asking what your documents that you have. We may occasionally, but it's not up to us to know on software side that you have your correct stuff. This is to help you out because we want you to be successful in what you do. The only way you can be successful is your knowledge, right? And you don't go to school. There's no school for clerks except for the Clerk Association, which you should go to every training available. If you want to be successful, go to every workshop they offer, go to every conference that they offer. There are DMV only will give you information at those times. So if you want to learn your jobs, make sure you take advantage of every training that's out there. So this is just a plug for our FAQs. There's also, things here that you could learn, but this is a wealth of information that Michelle has been working on to try to give you quick things. Okay. Plate releases. When do I process a peeling plate? Or how do I process a peeling plate? Boom. Step 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This is not, again, for you to stop and not call us if you need help. But if you're like me, I like to print something out, and you can print anything out by clicking this printer icon. I like to make my own notes on it. So the first time I have to go through something, yeah, you may say, verify the plate is not expired. Well, maybe I need more information than that. Maybe I need to say where it is or I don't know. This is, we've been working on trying to make things simple and direct without a lot of RSAs involved because nobody has time for that. So that's a plug for our FAQs. I think I got off track, but I wanted to make sure that I address that as well for you because that is a great tool for you guys to use. All right, back to trust. Sorry, I got sidetracked. So at renewal time, I'm going to go to the renewal main menu. If your customer wants to keep the registration in their birth month, but add their trust, then you want to come to renewals and you're going to go to 12-month PS. They have to have a title. The title has to be in the trust name only. The registration will be in the owner name and the trust. So when I click on 12-month PS, I'm going to look up that plate. I'm going to look 3818934. Search. So this is currently under this guy, Alan. I'm going to select it. It's going to ask me, because I'm adding it, are you adding a trust? I'm going to say, yes, I am. Now we know the title needs to be in the trust name only. So we wiped out Alan's name. He'll be on the reg, but on the title, it has to be in the trust name only. So now we need to look up that trust. So I'm going to do owner lookup by clicking on those little Lego people. And we will look at, I know I've added myself. So let's do Cameron. Trust 2024. And I'm going to search to see if it already is there. And yes, I want to search for a company. And it didn't find it because this is the first time he's going to register in the trust name. So I say, okay. And then I'm going to click new owner. You always want to search for the trust first because it could already be there. Could have already registered a vehicle. Cameron Trust 2024. Key. Company trust. This trust right here, you do not put that trust indicator on. You cannot have a title in the trust name and a registration in the trust and an owner's name. Typically, most registrations and titles, the owners must match. You have 2 owners on a title, you have to have 2 owners on the registration. In a trust situation, Title Bureau only wants the title in the trust name. By putting this trust indicator on, then we know when we go to the registration that that's okay. This is the trust and we're going to register it under the trustee and the trust. So if I stress anything enough, pay attention to this trust indicator when you are creating a trust. We'll say Main Street in there. And you also need to do the residency. You need to say, yes, it's a resident. even though it's just a company type thing. I'm going to hit save. It's just saying that the ownership changes will be sent to DMV after the registration and title are done. So I say, okay. And now I'm on the title screen. I have the trust. I will not be adding him as owner too. We are leaving this title in just the trust name. Now, if you don't know whether this is a sale or anything, if I click on, we have added, I don't know, over the past couple years, I guess, Dave, our programmer, he's been adding a bunch of stuff to help out new clerks. In 2020, when COVID hit and everyone got done and we had a huge influx of new clerks and there was no training available, we decided we could try to help you out as much as we could. So we didn't want to irritate those clerks who've been using the program and know what they're doing. However, if you hover over things, like if you hover over anything and you see an informational pop-up, click on it, it's going to tell you. Okay, so if you have an ethanol vehicle, well, that's going to be an X here. This one happens to be a diesel, and that D stands for diesel. But if you want to know on purchased, if I hover over this, is it from a sale? Is it a new resident, a surviving spouse, or a name change? Or is it from an executor, administrator, an estate, or a probate? No, it's actually a sale. When they are putting it into the trust now owns that vehicle. So you need to go ahead and have that customer fill out the back of the title because it goes from whoever the owner was to the Cameron Trust 2024. So the seller would be whoever was the trustee on that registration, which I didn't look at. So I'm just going to put me in because why? I don't know. F10. And purchase would be used, and the purchase date, depending on what they filled in the back, it's usually today. And you're going to put in their driver's license. Driver. If there is a lien holder, more than likely there's not, but if there was one, you could do the lookup to see whether it's there by typing it in. Or you could, if you're someone who remembers numbers really well, back in the old days, we used to have to do a lien holder number. All lien holders have a number. You could look it up by that. Got to be really good nowadays to have that one memorized, but there are some old ones that still do it. And then you select it. It brings it down here. You would put in the date of the sale or the lien. And you're going to go over here to the information because this was just a renewal. We filled it all in for you, so there shouldn't be really anything to check. But but again, look at these body styles. If I hover over body styles, is the vehicle a car? No. Is it a truck? No. Is it a motorcycle? No. Is it a trailer? No. Is it a construction vehicle? Let's say yes, because I want to see that. This information, we're pulling it from DMV's MA manual. Yes, we know their manual is out of date, but it's all we have to go on right now until they update their manual. But so far, it's a Connie Q if it's a non-tired vehicle, and it's a Connie T if it's a tired vehicle. Well, what in the world is a non-tired? Well, they're bulldozers, rollers, scrapers, spreaders, pavers. We even tell you what they are in detail. So if you need information, yes, you can call us, but we're going to come in here. We did this as much for us as we did it for you. We don't have this stuff memorized. Some of it maybe, but I don't remember, especially on those SCOMs and all of those, what needs to be put in. I'm going to come in here, log in, and I'm going to say, well, let's click on this. That'll tell us. Why? Why am I doing it? Not only to show you, but because I may not remember it. So this is to help us, and it's to help you as well. All right, so we need to fill in the prior title number, which I don't have, so I'm just going to fake it. Oops. I hope I was on numbers. And this normally would be New Hampshire, but I don't have an actual title. I'm going to hit next. Now we had a title in just the trust name. And now we're moving that trust to owner 2 because the registration, your customer wanted to register it in his birth month and the trust second. So now we still have it registered in May under Ford. And then we come here and we can see the trust is owner second. Title is in one name. Registration is in both names, but we put that trust indicator on. You would fill in your decal, calc your fees, still registering it in May, hit next. We just added a trust at renewal time. That is the easiest time to do a trust. There's also doing a trust where they say mid-year, I've changed it, okay? So we'll go over that one next. This is just doing it. There's only a small span of time because you can do a renewal up to 4 months early on when you can't do it as a renewal. The key that you need to ask on when someone comes in and says, hey, I want to put my vehicle in a trust. Okay. One of the questions, besides finding out if they've got the right documents, is do you want to keep that vehicle registered in your birth month? Or do you want to register it under the trust name only? If they say the trust name only, you are not processing that as a renewal. You would have to process that as a new PS, and they would lose any money they have already paid in. So if this vehicle had already been registered till 2025, and they said, yeah, I just bought a trust, I renewed my vehicle already, but I want to put my vehicle in a trust. Do you want to do it in the trust name only? Yes, I do. Well, then you're going to lose everything you just paid in on that registration. Up to them to make that choice. It's not your decision. If they want to go ahead with it and do it just in the trust name, you're going to do it as a new PS. And that's it. All trust. No trustee name added anywhere. It would be a registration and title with just a trust, new PS. In this case, they said, nope, I want to keep registering into my birth month. Perfect. Title is in the trust name. Registration is in the trustee's name first, then the trust name. Questions on that one? All right, let me.
Patty, that wouldn't be a transfer though, right? For that plate?
Nope. This case here.
If you wanted the trustee and then just adding the trust, but it's midstream.
So midstream. Okay, so here's what we see a lot.
Sorry, I don't want to confuse people.
Nope. That's the next going in. Okay, so we've done the renewal one. And if they want to do it straight out in the trust name. So now let's say somebody came in and they said, yeah, I've already registered my vehicle. I just want to get it into my trust now. Okay. Are you still wanting it in your registered? You still have to ask them that. Do you still want to register it in your birth month? If they say, yes, I want to keep that in my birth month. So it's mid-year. They've already registered it. And now we need to put it into that trust name. There's 2 steps. You do not release the plate. Do not release the plate on a vehicle that has not expired. Okay? The only reason you would ever release this plate on that vehicle would be if they want it in that trust name only. And then they're going to lose that money. Okay? That is the only reason you would release that plate. I can't caution enough plate releases. We see it all the time where people just want to, I'm just going to release a plate. Why? There are certain criteria you should be very, very cautious when you're releasing a plate. Because when you release a plate off of a vehicle, that vehicle is no longer registered. Any credit that that customer had on that plate is gone. You've just wiped out everything they had on that registration. If the plate is expired, perfect. Release that plate, do whatever you want. There's no credit on that plate. You need to be very careful when you're doing plate releases and making sure you understand that when you release a plate that is valid, you are making that registration unregistered, and that customer does not get a dime back in their money. Nothing. They've lost it. Whatever they've paid in, they just hand it over to you and the state. Merry Christmas. So just remember to be very cautious on when you're doing plate releases. Now, it also wouldn't be a transfer because the transfer is putting it to a new vehicle. This isn't going to a new vehicle. This is going on a vehicle that they currently own and currently register. They just want to add the trust. So this becomes a two-step process. So if I want to add a trust to someone I just registered, the very first thing I have to do is come down here under title application only. Okay. We're not going under new, renewal, or any of it because it's already registered. It's a valid registration. I would come here to view maintenance first just to see the status of that registration. Don't just assume when they hand you a registration either that the information they've just handed you is correct and up to date. There is times throughout the year where they might have changed a plate and they did not bring you in the right registration. Come out here and actually do a lookup under view maintenance. So I want to see, I'm just going to hit search. I just want to see what's in this status right now. So I have here, I can see that this plate is registered till next May. They just did it. I don't want to release this plate, or not only will they just lose, see this transfer credit right here? That's what they would lose on the town side only, $125, let alone the state portion that they paid in. So we don't want to release this plate. They just want to add the trust. So I would cancel out of here. So all I needed to know is that this was here.
Did you need something?
I was just making sure it was working for you.
Oh, yes, it is. Thank you.
All right. And so now I'm going to go to title application only. And we are, oh, I might help if I knew, we're going to create the trust. Let me get a VIN number here. Where is my stuff here? Just want to make sure I have a good VIN for us that we can use. Actually, I want to grab that VIN on that one. Hold on just a moment. So I don't have to type something because I'm lazy. Okay, cancel this. We're going under title application only down here, and we're going to complete the title app first because we need to get it into the trust. This owner lookup is always for owner one. Who is the owner one? The other thing, we'll get into that later. So this will be my trust. Let's do it as Michelle. Trust 2024. And I'm going to hit search. Yes, I'm searching for a company. No, there's no one out there. So I'm going to hit new owner. I love to click this trust button first in the company so I don't forget it. Let's come down here, Main Street. And let's do it as a resident and save. Now I'm going to put in my VIN number on the vehicle that we've already registered and hit search. So this is the Red Book lookup, and I'll get into this more once we get into the new vehicles. So I'm just going to take this one up top. And now I have it under just a trust, no second owner. Purchased, use, we'll do it as today's date. And do. Fill in my seller. And there's no lien holder, so I'm coming over here, making sure all my vehicle information is filled in. I'm gonna put in some fictitious title stuff. And my odometer. Normally you'd have a real title because you should have that title in your hand. I hit next. Lien holder is blank. Do you want to continue? Yes. It looks like I've already got a title out there, so let me do a different VIN here. Yeah. We'll do it with, I'll just find a VIN number. We'll do this one. All right, let's try this again. Pays to be in play zone. I can do whatever I need. Hit next. Lien holder is blank. Yes. And now I'm here. So I've done my title, which is just in my trust name. Now I need to go and update the registration. DMV, for some reason, we don't know, won't let you have 2 items in your cart for the same time. However, this is actually just updating the registration for this vehicle. Not sure if it would let us do it in the same cart or not. So if I want to get rid of, do this so that I can then do the view maintenance to update the reg, because all we've done right now is update the update the title. Sorry. So we have the title in the trust name. Great. We still need to update that registration. Let's try doing it. I'm going to click here on the motor vehicle, and we can't go under new, renewal, or any of those because it's already registered. So we're just going to go to this view maintenance. And we are going to type in the plate number. Here's the plate. Select it. And now I need to go to the owner 2 tab. And in this time, we're going to put the trust here. So we had owner 1. It stays the same. Owner 2 has to be the trust. I'm going to do a lookup. And I am going to look Michelle Trust 2024. Get rid of that birth date. Select my company and hit search. Now, note it isn't here because it hasn't finished anything at DMV yet. That doesn't mean you need to go and add another new owner again. Come up here, click on Town Database, and hit search, and now you have your trust. Okay? This is only because you had not finished that one transaction and sent it to the state. But you shouldn't have to add that trust again over and over and over again. You've already got it in your town one. So I'm going to select it. And now I have the owner 1, owner 2, and I'm going to save it. It's going to ask you, was a title application generated for this change in ownership? Yes, it was. Was both the town, state and town portions processed? Yes, it was. Ah, but my registration's expired. Hold on. Let me do this one time here. DMV just barely gave me decals this morning that were for 2025. So I was hustling around trying to get all my decals, all my registrations up to date because I was figuring I was going to have to do 2024s. Let me just do this one. I must have missed one. Just ignore me for just a moment. Oh, because it has my title. Sorry about that. They don't give us up-to-date data, and I just barely got my 2025 decals this morning. Yep. Makes life interesting. Okay, now I'm going to retrieve that cart where we had our title. And we'll be back to where we were. So now I'm going to go and do that view maintenance. I'm going to click on the motor vehicle icon, do my view maintenance, type in that plate number 4966510. Now I have to add that trust in again. Get rid of that birthday. Oh, come on. Select company, search. Again, it's not a DMV, so I'm going to do my town database, search, select it, save it. Was an application generated? Yes, it was. Was both the state and town done? Yes, it was. Do you want to charge an agent fee for this? It's up to you. I'd say yes. And now I'm here. So now I've done my title application only to put it in the trust name. And I did a view maintenance to put it into his name and add the trust second. This is how you're going to do it if it's mid-year and you cannot do it as a renewal. You update the title. You do a title that will be in the trust name only. And you'll do a view maintenance, which will allow you to put that trust name onto that already registered vehicle. Now, do you do a certified copy after this? I believe DMV wants a certified copy. So in that case, you've got your $30 here. And you're going to do a short slip. Let's talk short slips. Short slips are like a little mini loan to your customer, just to get you through one transaction on this vehicle so that you can then go do another transaction on this same vehicle. DMV won't let you have two vehicles, two transactions on registrations for that vehicle in the same cart. So you have to get rid of this cart, get it done, pay it off, and then go do that certified copy. Well, you want to give it so that your customer only has to write you one check or pay you one time with a credit card if you're using credit cards. This short slip allows you to say, I want to print this off, send it off to DMV. I haven't collected any of that money yet. So you need to be aware of it. You need to be aware when you're using short slips because it is a loan. So that at some point, that person has to pay that off, right? They still owe you when you do a short slip. So you need to be aware that if you're using a short slip, by golly, you better collect that money. So I'm going to pay this off. And yes, I've done a town short slip only. Sends it off to DMV, and prints your title off, and then it's going to ask you, I think we'll wait till this gets done. Wants to print 3 copies of my title. It's going to ask me if I want to print this view maintenance registration. I'm going to say no because we're going to go do a certified copy. So now I'm coming here. I'm going to go to my certified copy. I'm going to type in my plate. 4966510. I'm going to say it was mid-year, because it's mid-year that we're changing it. We're going to hit next. Do you want to charge an agent fee? Sure. I didn't pull in my short slip. So when you get to here, you should have seen that short slip automatically pull in, unless I used a different. Let me go look at it. Let's see who we had for a short slip name. Oh, it's under Michelle Trust. So when you are doing short slips, okay, and you have multiple items in your cart, this is probably more complicated than the new clerks really want to hear, but I'm going to explain it anyway because we have a lot of people here. When you do a short slip, whoever is the first transaction you do in the cart, whoever that owner was, that's who it's going to do as the short slip, whose name it's under. Keep in mind, we did the title application first under Michelle Trust 2024. So it put that short slip under this Michelle Trust. So when we did this certified copy, the system did not pull that short slip in here to collect because it's seeing Milton Amaral here, not Michelle Trust. When you get to this point and you see this $18, but you do not see your $30 short slip, you don't just collect 18. You come out here to utilities, to short slip maintenance. You see, oh, it was under the trust. I need to make this under this Milton Amaral. So I'm going to do an owner lookup here and put it under, I think it's Amaral would be the last name, A-M-A-R-A-L-M-I-L-T-O-N. Search. Select. And save it. So now it's under this guy. Now what do? Great, I changed it, but it's still not showing here. If you double click on your cart, the cart icon on the left, it refreshes your cart. It just says, let me just refresh it. So I double click. And now this is what you should have seen when you pulled this in. So I can say, okay. Now I have my short slip paid that this guy owes me $30 more. So that was a really complicated one because of doing it mid-year. There's more steps to it. The key that I want to bring up on these short slips, if you had gotten to that point and your short slip didn't pull in, don't just you've got to pay attention. You've got to know that short slip needed to be there. If your short slip did not pull in and you don't remember where to go, call us. We can help you find where that short slip is and pull it in. You want your customer to pay everything that he had to pay. So right now he's paying for that short slip, which was his title and view maintenance on that last one and his certified copy. So he's got to owe you $48 right now. Could you have paid that original cart with the title with check or cash? Absolutely. And never used a short slip? Sure. It's up to you. If they were paying cash, don't do a short slip. You can just take your cash for that one and move forward with this one, and you wouldn't have to worry about a short slip. But it's a nice way of just having your customer write you one check. Guess I should have hooked up a printer. Might have gone faster.
I have a quick question.
Sure.
This is Kayla in Leominster. I know that are you able to add 2 owners plus the trust, or can it only be one
Nope.
owner at a time?
Oh, nope. You can add. So the one thing you want to make sure is when you're doing a trust and there are multiple trustees, which trustee wants to be owner 1? Which birth month do they want to register it under? That's key. And remember that when you get a title app, I don't even care if it's for a trust, and it lists multiple owners, even if it's just myself and my husband, Greg and Patricia Woolsey. If there are 2 owners and Greg's first and I'm second on that trust, that doesn't mean they have to be in that order when you do the registration. That just means there's two of them. You should be asking your customer, which one do you want to register this vehicle under? Whose birth month? Because as long as they are on that title application, you can register it under either birth month, as long as they are both on that title application. That's where we get a lot of people who call up and say, well, I registered it because the title said Greg was first, Patty second. Well, great, but they didn't want it that way. They wanted Patty's birth month of March, not July of Greg. And you can do that. It doesn't matter what order they're in. The key is that they're both on there. If both of them aren't on that title application, they don't get added. Only the ones that's on that application gets added. All right, now let me go back to how to do it. So if I was here and we did a title application only, this here is who we're registering. Well, actually it's under the registration screen. So let's go under view maintenance. And we're just going to play. We're going to pretend. We won't go all the way through it. So here, owner one is Greg. If he, on the title, there was two of us, we could have put my name first. Okay. But right here, owner two would be whatever trust that we're adding. Now, if the other trustee wants to be added, so you have Greg here, trust here, any additional trustees that want to be on that registration is under this tab here that says additional owners. So when I click here, I can add up to four more owners. I could come here and say, oh yeah, Woolsey, Trisha. She's an additional owner. I could add another one if I wanted to. I could add up to 3 more. So then you would have your owner one as Greg on the registration. Remember, the trust is only, the title is only in the trust name. The registration would be owner one is whoever, which trustee wants to be on that, register it in their birth month. Owner two is the trust. Additional owners will be any other owners, any other trustees that they want listed on there. Does that answer your question?
Does, thank you.
You're welcome.
Do we need to get a copy of the trust or see the trust so that we know?
I believe you need the first and last page.
Okay.
That shows the trust. And then I think the last page, maybe the signatures, I think,
Yep.
on it.
Yep. Okay.
Yep, those two. And you need the title, obviously.
Yep.
So
Perfect. Thank you.
you're welcome. All right, so let's get back. I'm going to cancel that. All right, so we're good with trust, adding a trust. We'll move on to survivorship, the other nice, really fun topic everyone really loves. So again, survivorship isn't difficult. You've just got to know when the vehicle's registered. So if I was here and someone comes in and says, yes, my spouse passed away and I need to register and title these in my name. Start here with view maintenance. See when they're registered to. And search. So in this case, we're going to say it's currently registered till to this month. Perfect. There is a Donald Blackden who is owner one and Vicky is owner two. We're going to say that Donald has passed. If he's related, I'm sorry. But we're going to say that he's passed away and now she's there at your window wanting to register. Key, this expiration date, 5/31/24. Perfect. Because we can go under renewal. It's up for renewal. So I can come to the renewal main menu and I have all these survivorships over here. The first 3 are all about new first owner, which means that first owner on the reg has passed away. Drop second owner means the second owner on the reg has passed away. Then you have, okay, did they bring you the title app from a dealer or a bank? Is it exempt? Or do you as a clerk need to provide that title application for them, type it up for them? So we're going to say it's a survivorship, new first owner PS. And we are under the renewal screen because it's up to 4 months early. You can do this. So I'm here. And we're going to type in 333-1420. Search. And select it. I'm on the title screen. Because we know you selected new first owner and there was a second owner, we just automatically try to help you out by taking that second owner and moving it into the owner one field. That does not mean this is the surviving spouse, though. If she's just a child, she's not the surviving spouse. So you would need to do a lookup for whoever that surviving spouse is. We just try to help you out because 9 times out of 10, it's going to be the surviving spouse who's owner 2. So it would have been like Greg Woolsey and Patty Woolsey as second owner. And then it would have automatically put Patty Woolsey here for you. But pay attention because it may not be. It could have been Greg Woolsey and Michelle Woolsey, which is daughter. And they don't get survivorship. So we automatically pulled Vicky in. She is their surviving spouse. Oh, what do I do down here? Do I need to fill in the seller? What's purchased? I click on this. So now we are from a surviving spouse right here. So the purchase type, new, used, demo, mileage, and purchase date will reflect what is shown on the current title. So whatever that title application is there in your hand, you're going to use that same, the original title that you have in your hand. It's going to reflect whatever was on that title. So it's not using today's date. It's not using used. They could have bought it new. And the purchase date when they bought it on that title was 01/01/2024. And the seller, it's whatever was on that. I don't even know if you need to put that in there, but it would be because it's a survivorship. You could put the ID. And if there was a lien holder, again, you'd fill in the lien holder. Come over here to the vehicle. Make sure you fill in the prior title number because they should have that. It would normally be New Hampshire. And you fill in the odometer, again, is what's showing on that title that you have in your hand, not the current odometer. I hit next. It says owner 2 is blank. Keep in mind, when you are doing a survivorship, you cannot add the daughter or the son to that title, or they do not qualify for a survivorship. That's one of the rules. It's just putting it into the surviving spouse's name only. If you want to put it, they want to add a son or a daughter or someone else to that title, you are doing it under the new. You're not doing it under survivorship. They have to get charged for that. So we're here to the registration. Now I just have Vicky's name only. Remember, I did it under 12-month renewal survivorship. Enter my decal, calc my fees. It knows we have a new first owner based on that one because the other one expired in May. His birth month was in May. Now we're doing it under Vicky's of April. So we have to give her the decals, the 2025 decals, and we have to give her the April decals. Click OK. I hit next. Oh, she also has an unlicensed dog. So we're going to give you, we used to only give you this little blue icon that was a visual to let you know that you needed to license their dog. Now we got up in your face because we had people saying, can you please just make it more obvious? So now I say, oh, well, Vicky, you also have a dog to renew. Would you like to license that dog at the same time right now? More than likely, she's going to say yes. So we can come up to the dog. We've got my title and my renewal now. So this will put this into Vicky's name. and it will now expire in April of 2025. But now we also want to license her dog. So I'm going to click on the dog icon and I'm going to renew it. I think it was black and something. Black. I don't know what it was. First name was Vicky. I don't know. Don't know if I've got enough. Here we go. Black and Den. Lola. The dog Lola needs to be licensed because you can see here the license year is 2023 and it should be 2024. So I'm pulling in Lola. We're going to give Lola a new number. Let me get that. So this is going to be license number 8. I'm going to hit next. Now I have her putting her name into the vehicle into her name as the surviving spouse, and I've licensed her dog all at the same time. Look at us go. Hit pay. Yeah, get out of here. And that takes us to the survivorship under the renewal, whether it's a new first owner, second owner. If I had come here and under renewals and did drop second owner, it would just remove whoever that second owner was. You wouldn't have to give any new month decals at all because it's still staying registered under that primary owner. All right. Now, let's move on to some new registrations. Unless somebody else has some other questions about renewals or would like to know something else on renewals. You've got the big screen here. Is there anybody who has any other questions about anything there? All right, let's move on to new. So new registrations, quick link, new registration AP means you've got a dealer application, dealer or a bank has already filled out that title application. They're bringing it to you. Used to be blue. Now I believe some of them are white, so you can't really distinguish that it really was a copy, but that is, they do not have the original title in their hand. They have a dealer copy or a bank copy. That's the AP. New registration with PS just means you as a clerk have to type that title and they're handing you an original title application. Now I could also go under here under my new registration main menu and I have those same here. Title application has been applied for, title exempt, no title, private sale. You're typing it. So I have those. I have a lot more other options as well. We're going to start with the AP because that's pretty much where they come in with some dealer form. We're asking you this question not to annoy you, but we had a lot of clerks who didn't understand the difference between the AP and the PS and what they stood for. So our way of stopping them from making the mistake of selecting AP when they really wanted to print the title out. So we're going to ask you, did the customer hand you a title application from a dealer or a lending institution? Yes, they did. If you say no, do you need to print the title application for this customer? Yes. Well, then you should select new PS. So we're going to walk, depending on how you answer these. So read our, please, I know messages can be annoying, but please read them. They're there for your benefit to help you to stop from making a mistake if possible. So we're going to go private sale. No, we did AP, sorry. That's where we're going. Did the customer hand you a title application? Yes, they did. So we're going to fill in the CTA number to see if it's at DMV first, at the Title Bureau. Most of the time they're not, but I hear sometimes they're there. So I searched by the CTA. They didn't find it. So you need to click the skip button to proceed. So I click OK, and I come down here and hit skip, because there wasn't one there. Let's put in, I guess I can use me now. Bullseye. Else if I know how to spell my own name. We're going to select me as the owner one. So when you're looking this up, it's always owner one. Who are you going to register that vehicle in? Again, if it had been myself and my husband on that title, you need to ask them which one they want to go first. And then this could have been my husband, not me. I'm going to select it. And now I'm going to put in my VIN number. Now this VIN field, if you're not familiar with it, if I double click in that VIN field, it just zooms it out for me. Why? Just to make it a little easier if you need to verify that you typed in the right stuff. It's easier to see it popped out than it is when it's really tiny. We can't help you with those pieces of paper, but we can help you at least verify, okay, is this the VIN that I had? Yep, perfect. Then hit search. What you're searching is the red book information right now. You're going out to DMV and saying, hey, I want everything that's in that red book. In the olden days, we had just red books in our offices, and that's how we had to look up every vehicle. Every new vehicle, we had to look it up by a book. Now DMV has it. It's in their system. So you can see here on the top line, it's kind of got a little gray up there. That indicates that somewhere in the state of New Hampshire, some clerk had already registered that vehicle at some point. So we're going to give you that and show you how they registered it prior to that. Then underneath that, you can see we're going to give you every other option that DMV has for that model and that VIN in the red book. So you can see here, the 64,000 doesn't match anything down here. So maybe she did it as brand new and didn't have all the information on it. So they went out and looked, but it doesn't match anything here. So you need to ask your customer, don't assume just because it's there and someone else registered it that it's correct. No, you should still be coming to this customer because it's new to them and saying, oh, what type of a crew is it? Is it a 6.6 cylinder diesel 4x4 SLT? Is it a long one? Or is it, I'm assuming this one's just short. So if it is, look at the difference in the list price. If you select 64,000, you're gypping your town out of money. And you're gypping the state out of money because the weight on that vehicle under all of these is a lot more than that 7150 that prior clerk selected. If this here had matched, the one in gray had matched one of them down here, I would feel very confident in you taking what's up here. Because if it has and you take it here, all that information like the color and all of that will have already filled in for you. But you cannot assume that is true. In this case is a very good example where the clerk just probably didn't, it was brand new and didn't have the stuff in red book yet to get that information from. So I'm going to go here and select the correct one. We'll take the long. And now we're on the title AP screen. So I have my owner one. If there is an owner two, you'll need to go to the add owner two tab, do an owner lookup for that owner two. If there was others, after you filled in the owner two, then you would go to additional owners and fill in all those other owners. Okay, so start here. Start with your owners, fill it all in. Make sure addresses look okay. Then you come down to the seller information. On an AP, you do not have to fill in the seller information. DMV doesn't require it, so we just gray it out, so you don't have to do it. You do need to fill in purchase new or used, the purchase date, their identification. If there's a lien holder, you need to do the lookup, do the lien holder. And now you come over to the vehicle information over here. This, most of it filled in for you based on the red book information. Now, on that title application the dealer gave you, 9 times out of 10, they don't give you the prior title number. So you have to check this MCO box. And then you put in the odometer reading. When you hit next, we're sending that information off to DMV and saying, hey, everything look okay? Oh, I gotta put myself in New Durham. Hold on. And next. It's gonna remind you that owner 2 is blank. Yep, still good with that. And yes, the lien holder information is blank. So yes, I want to continue. Now note here, we did it as an MCO because they did not give us that title information. MAP is now saying, oh, there is a title. And look at that. They just now gave us that title number, which we did not have before. You're going to see MAP errors, and they will tell you MAP error, and you'll just see our error messages. We cannot control what MAP tells you, but we can take this information now and fill it in for you. So I say, okay, here. Do you want us to resend the title app with that prior title now? So nope, down here, we filled it in for you because MAP gave it to us. So I'm saying, yeah, that's what I want you to do. So now we did our title. We're on the registration screen. You would put in your decal. You will put in your plate number. Your plate type. Calc your fees. Let me try a different one here. 518. Let's just do a vanity plate. I know I can come up with something. PBG 235 234. There we go. Now, I calc my fees, but it's not until we hit next that it's going to verify that vanity plate is available at DMV or that they're going to let you have it. So when I hit next here, if I get all the way to fee settlement, yep, they can have that plate. If it was not available, it would have come up with a message saying that plate is already in use, select another plate. That would have been your message. I'm gonna hit pay. And that was a new registration AP. And now we wait for all my printing. All right, let's go back to news. Let's just talk. I mean, we could go through a new PS, pretty simple, but we've done enough of them. It's going to look up the title, then we'll move on to the registration, and boom, it just prints out a title instead of doing the other. Let's talk about these two options here. I don't have any, I don't think I have any that I could actually do, but I can talk about them. These are awesome. Expired renewal, 1 year and 1 day, issued to the same vehicle. So my husband loves his old antique cars, I think I've said. So maybe he bought a new one, went into Raymond and said, hey, I want to title and register this vehicle because I want to take it to the cruise night. Perfect. She titles and registers it. Then he brings it home after that first cruise night, sits it up in his garage to work on it. And it takes him over a year to do it. He has those plates. They're perfect because they only used them once. Now it's expired for more than a year and a day, but he just wants to, he's already titled it. It's already in his name. I just want to put it back on the road and I want to use those same plates. That's what this option will do. Let me see if I can find one. Is the expired plate being issued to the same vehicle? Yes, it is. Look it up. Let me see if I can find one that we might have that's older. I'm in here playing all the time, so maybe we'll have something in here. We'll check him first. That might be expired for more than a year and a day. That one's not quite yet. Let's do me, because he's in July. All right, so expired more than a year and a day. We can take this one here, or we can take any of them actually. So this one expired in March of this year. So it's more than a year and a day expired. So technically it's kind of like a new one. But I've already registered it a while ago and I have plates I want to use it. Could you do a plate release and then key it on as new existing title, you could. Or you can go under the renewal part, look it up here under that expired renewal 1 year, 1 day, select it. It says if the customer is releasing their plate to someone else, you've got to do it for reorder. We're not, it's for the same person. We do have to release this plate because then it goes right back on it because it's expired. So this was a vanity, available in inventory vanity. No plate fee because I owned that plate before. I'm going to get that plate again. If we'll go over the reorder in a different transaction. So I'm going to hit next. It was successfully released. So I say, okay. It's taking me, I didn't have to go to the title. I didn't have to go anywhere. Everything is staying the same. All I have to do now is put in my new 2025 decals, calc my fees, and now this registration, which did expire in 2024 in March, is now good until 2025 in next year. So it was expired for more than a year. And now I'm putting it on this new plate, putting it back on the road. Will you ever use it? Maybe. I like it. Will you remember it? That's the key. I don't think it's used as much as it really could be used. That's under the new. So that is the expired renewal, 1 year, 1 day, issued to the same vehicle. Now we also have the one, it's an expired plate is issued to a new vehicle. So this is not expired for a year and a day. So don't forget, when it's expired for more than a year and a day, that means that vehicle is done. It's all done. It needs to be new from that point forward. An expired plate means that it's hasn't expired for more than a year and a day. Until it's expired up to that 12 months there, it can be renewed. So when I come here and do expired plate is issued to a new vehicle, that means I had one. I had the plate on an old vehicle. I didn't renew it in March, but now I want to put that plate on a new vehicle that I just purchased. That's what this is. The expired plate is issued to a new vehicle. So it's kind of like a transfer, but when you do not have any credit left, because you can't transfer a vehicle if it's expired, correct? You can only transfer vehicles that are not expired. This option allows you to kind of do a transfer on an expired vehicle. So it's under the new section because it is considered new, but you want that old plate on a new vehicle. Sure. Let me look up. Let's see if I've got one here. I normally don't go into this detail and show you this stuff because it's kind of. Yeah, so this one's a good case. So it's expired. It expired in last May, but it's not a year and a day. It won't be a year and a day until 6/1. So I can still take this plate and put it on a new vehicle. Again, it's just the thing about how you're releasing the plate. It's my plate. It's just a non-vanity. I'm keeping it. I don't need to reorder it. I hit next. They have to release it and then it goes on as a reissue. So then it says, okay, let's look up the new vehicle. I'm going to put in some fictitious number and search. No, so then we have to hit skip. And it wants the VIN number. We get a VIN here. Again, I can zoom it in. Okay, hit search. And now in the red book, the only option is this one. I hit select. And now I'm here, purchase used, purchase date is today. I'm not gonna fill in my lien holder. I'm just gonna say it came from a different state. We'll say it was Mass, and the odometer was this. And I hit next. Owner 2 is blank, yes. Lien holder is blank, yes. And now I'm back here. I'm at registering my new vehicle. I calc my fees, and it's going to put that plate that was on my old vehicle on here. So that plate was expired. I didn't do it as a transfer because it was expired, but I could do it as a late renewal to a new vehicle. And this is saying additional charges have been found for this customer and added to the cart. Please verify before selecting pay. I say, okay. Ah, he also has a dog that's unlicensed. So I say, okay. So what is all this? We have a 2023 civil forfeiture and a 2023 spade license. So he did not license his dog for last year, and he got a civil forfeiture. We're automatically pulling that into this cart because he's got to pay that, and he needs to license his dog for 2024. You don't get away with just bypassing last year's license and licensing him this year, or you shouldn't. So this doesn't mean it's licensed. This is where a lot of people go wrong. They think, oh, it's pulled in the license for this year and it's done it for me. It has not. This was last year's license. You still need to come up here, Jacob Borowski, renew that dog for this year. Yep, it says it detected that it had not been done last year. I think we're on 10 now. And if you want to know what these late fees are, if you click here, you could modify it. I mean, they're late fees. They're that $1 a month. He owes $1 a month for every month after June 1st from when that dog was late last year. So you could modify it. I wouldn't, but you could. You could say yes and make it 0 if you wanted to. We're going to audit that though, so it shows that you did that. We hit next. I've got to enter a phone number. If it's a valid, dogs have to have phone numbers. I hit next. Note, we're going to also tell you if you skipped the license for the dog. I'm just going to say yes because I don't know what I was on. Yes, I want to skip 9. And now I have last year's license with the civil forfeiture in there, and this license number 10 for this year. So be careful when it pulls items into your cart. One, always look at it. Make sure what you have in your cart before you hit pay. We've seen it. We've seen a lot. But what we've seen in past and quite a few times is somebody would have come here, done this title AP. The customer says, oh yeah, I can't do that right now. I gotta go because he didn't have the right information. And then the clerk gets distracted because you're all busy. They don't delete the cart. They just click on the icon. And then they come here and they forget that this is here. And then they go and they renew a vehicle. They get back to that cart. They don't pay attention. And they don't look at what they have in their cart before they hit pay. They have many times, there have been a registration up here. This could be for Patty Woolsey. I didn't do a registration. This registration could be Patty, and all of these are for the customer that really was at your window. It's because you didn't delete it to start from scratch. How do you avoid that? Look at your cart. Look here. Is this what you're expecting? Even say to the customer, okay, I've got your title and I've got this new registration for the 2022 Ford. I'm licensing your dog for last year and licensing your dog for this year. I guess we've got everything, right? Let them say yes. At least then you know you have made the look. You've looked at something that's on the screen and you know that you don't have somebody else's information in your cart. It takes a few more minutes, but it certainly is a lot faster than if you have to call DMV, get them to void something, then call us and help you void it as well. So slow down, take a look at it. Now, the other thing you can do in this cart, if the customer said, I don't know those 2023s, I licensed them. I licensed that dog because I was living with my mom in another town, and here I have the license. Perfect. You can delete these. I can come here to this delete item. I want to permanently delete it. You have to put in a reason. Licensed in Bristol. This information is to back you up. Why did you do it? Okay. And then I'm going to do this civil forfeiture too. Licensed. This is typically where we see something like dog died or something like that, but now we're here. Those are gone. And now I'm back to what I have here. I'm going to pay it. And that will end that card. Okay. I think news are pretty easy. Let's go on to transfers. So what's the first question they ask you when they come in? Geez, I don't know. I don't know if I want to transfer my plates or if I want to get new plates. You could come here and do a price quote form, but that's going to take you a lot more steps. If the only difference is that they want to know whether to get new plates or transfer, go to view maintenance and type in the plate number and hit view, or hit search, sorry. Don't do anything else. Over here to the right, there's this column that says transfer CR.
Mhm.
That's how much is left in credit on that vehicle. If he doesn't transfer it, he is going to lose $125. So even if he didn't have his old registration because the dealership kept it, it's still worth doing a certified copy on and then doing the transfer. If this had only been like $8 worth of credit, probably not worth doing a certified. He's probably better off just getting new plates and going from there. So this, I didn't even have to do any price quote. I didn't have to do anything. On a transfer, we know how much is left over. This is town portion only. DMV is going to give you a set fee of some sort, you know, the $10 for a transfer, whatever it is, depending on the vehicle. So this is key on a transfer. So yeah, this guy should transfer his plates. If that guy does not have his, sorry, my eye for some reason is watering. If this guy did not have his his old registration and he needs to get a certified copy, you will want to come to certified copy first. Because once you transfer it, it's no longer in that vehicle's name. And you will not be able to get your certified copy. So the certified copy has to come first. You have to have that old reg in your hand before you can transfer. So we're going to do the certified copy. Search. And select it. Because we're going to say he was stolen. I mean, lost. Sorry, not stolen. Lost. Do you want to charge an agent fee? Yes, you do. Why do we ask you that question? Because if you're doing a certified copy because of an error you did, you wouldn't want to charge your agent fee. Now, again, I cannot put two items in my cart. I can't just go and click on the motor vehicle icon and do my transfer because DMV won't allow you to have a certified copy and a transfer for the same vehicle in your cart. We can't get around that. We'd like to, but we can't. So we have to fee settle this one. Again, you could do it with two checks. You could say, okay, you got to give me your cash, give me $18, or we can do that short slip, that short-term loan. I hit pay. And yes, I've done a town short slip. I say yes, I want to continue. Now it's going to print out my registration. So now I have a copy of the old registration. Now I can proceed with the transfer. So I click on the motor vehicle icon. Now I have two quick links down here, an AP or a PS, or I can go to the main menu and I've got a lot more options. Is it an owner to owner, owner to lease, lease to owner, lease to lease, or lease survivorship? We're going to say it's owner to owner. And we'll say it's PS because we haven't done one of those in a while. We're going to look at the plate. Search. We're going to select it because there's our $125 credit there. It says, okay, what's the new vehicle? The VIN number. Much easier for me to cut and paste and copy than it is for you guys to have to type these out. I'm going to take that top one, select it. Oh, I think I used that VIN already. Hold on. Let me do another one. Let me just select a different one because I think that looked familiar, like I'd already used it. And now I'm at my title application screen, so I can go, it was used, was purchased today. Driver's license, photo ID, seller. I don't have a lien holder. We're going to go over, make sure the vehicle information is all filled out. I'm going to put in the previous title number and the odometer reading. Everything looks good. I hit next. Ah, look at that. There was two owners on that and I need to enter an and or. So I say, okay. So the owner one is here. We had a second owner here. We need to put and or between their name. They get to pick. Now, also, you need to be aware of this joint survivorship. What does that mean? If this was not husband and wife, they don't, these, if it was, I did this a while ago with my mom. We went to her town clerk and she wanted to add me to her vehicle. I'm not her surviving spouse, but if the purpose of putting me on there was so that if something happened to her, I automatically get the vehicle. That is your joint survivorship. If this is not checked out when you're doing the title application, when that person, if this person was my mom, I wouldn't have automatically got the vehicle. It would have had to go to probate. By checking this joint survivorship, I'm now the sole owner after my mom passed. I am now the sole owner of that vehicle. So you need to be aware because your customers are not. They are not aware of your laws. They don't know what you have to do. They don't even know what they're doing half the time and what they're giving you. So just know that, I mean, when I went to the town clerk with my mom, they didn't even ask me this. I had to point it out. I said, yeah, because I know, because I was a clerk. But if you're just Joe Schmo off the street, you don't know that you need to do something with joint survivorship. So it's your job as the clerk, if this is not husband and wife or spouse A and spouse B or whatever you want to call it now, you need to be able to do this joint survivorship. If this is husband and wife or whatever, they are automatically get that vehicle no matter what. This does not need to be checked. But if they're not married at all, then they are not the surviving spouse. And you need to check this if they want the joint survivorship. All right, so just be aware whether you will need to check that box or not. And hit next. And there's blank. And now I'm at the transfer owner to owner screen. I don't need to fill in my decal. That would have auto populated. I just need to calc my fees. Here is my $125 credit that we were seeing. So they're getting that. I hit next. And now I've just processed a transfer. And look at that. That short slip for that certified copy automatically is pulling into this cart. So now your customer is going to pay for their certified copy and their transfer in this one cart for $377. If they needed to renew it as well, because it was close to renewal time, and they wanted to renew it, you would have done another short slip here. And then you would have done the renewal, and the renewal at fee settlement would have shown a short slip collected for $377, which would have been the addition. So it just keeps adding to it. This one's already good. We hit pay. All right, so now that was an owner to owner. Let's go back to transfers. An owner to lease. The owner to lease option is when the vehicle was in my personal name, the old vehicle. So I had a vehicle currently registered under my name. And now I bought a new one and it's leased. That is an owner to lease. A lease to owner is my old vehicle that's currently registered that I want to transfer was under a lease company. And now my new vehicle that I purchased is just under my own name. I didn't lease it. Lease to lease is when you have, it could be two things. It could be like my old vehicle was under Ford Motor Credit and my new vehicle's under Ford Motor Credit. Still a lease to lease. If my old vehicle was Ford Motor Credit and now my new vehicle is Toyota Lease Trust, that is also a lease to lease. Still lease vehicles. I had a lease vehicle before and I have a lease vehicle now. That's a lease to lease. So let's go under, I don't want to do all of them. Let's do owner to lease. And we'll do it with a title app. We're going to look up that plate. So we're doing owner to lease here. So we're going to put in plate number and search and select it. We know that it's registered here. It's not expired. We're going to have $358 worth of credit. Definitely worth transferring. I select it. Is the second owner on the new title? The only reason why we're asking you that is because if they are, we'll keep it on there for you. I'm going to say yes. And now we're going to put in the new VIN number. So now we automatically moved Brian to the second owner as the lessee. We automatically put the lease indicator on. Now we need to look up who that lease company is because we don't know who it is. So we're going to do an owner lookup and we will do Toyota Lease Trust. And we're going to hit search. Now it's always the fun part because DMV, if it's not one DMV likes, they're going to tell you it doesn't. But we're going to pick this Atlanta, Georgia. And now I have a lease, a lessor, and a lessee. We fill in the rest of the title information. Weird seller, but you know, works for me. And I don't have a lien holder, and I'm going to come down here and fill in my prior title information. And I'm going to hit next. Yes, I'm going to keep going. Now I have my lessor is Toyota. Here I am. I'm going to calc my fees. I am going to be now registering this vehicle for 13 months. It'll expire under my birth month still, not under the lessor. It's going to be under the lessee's birth month, so it's under May. We hit next. And now we've done a transfer owner to lease with a title app. Does anybody have questions on the rest of the registration section? We're running out of time and I want to get on to dogs. So if anybody has any other issues or questions that they have, unique situations that they've run into that they would like either more knowledge on or how something goes, I can hit that as well. Is everybody good on motor vehicle for now? We can always come back if you have something at the end. All right, let's go to dogs. So dogs are a beast and you get very little money. However, RSA say they don't care. You still have to perform your jobs as a dogs for the dogs. To me, a dog starts with in your town with the rabies certificate, right? You get your stack of rabies in from your vet once a month. You need to go in here and you need to see whether that dog is already licensed. So under maintain dogs, there is edit an existing dog. I want to take those rabies. I want to see if any of the rabies need to be updated on my dogs. Or do I need to add a dog because we don't have it licensed? So I'm going to edit an existing dog. And I am going to look up the first dog here. Let's look up LS. Let's look up. So now, how do you want to look up your dogs? You could look it up by any of those options that are there. By owner, dog name, address, whatever. We have some communities who will never type in the owner's last name. They will type in the dog's name and an address, or just the dog name if it happens to be a unique one. Why do they do that? I'll give you an example of, say I have a dog licensed under me in your town. I'm busy, I work out of town. I'm doing this lovely little training here. And so my daughter-in-law, as nice as she is, said, hey, I'll take your dog to get its, vet appointment. When she takes my dog to the vet, it's great, still in my name, but the person who's there is who they're going to put that rabies information in. So if you were to search by her name, you wouldn't find my dog when you got that rabies information in, but it's still my dog. So a lot of them will fill in the dog name and the dog address so that they don't duplicate information. Another thing they will do is see under dog status, it's showing active. When they're searching to see whether dogs are there, they'll do both. What is the difference? Active is any dog that is seen there, it's showing on your license report or unlicensed report. An inactive dog is where an owner has called up and said, hey, my dog died. Can you please remove it? Or I don't live in your town anymore. I'm not licensing my dog there. There's a spot in the system where you can make that dog, quote, inactive. Now, when I am searching with my rabies, I would be searching for both. Why? Because in some communities, Manchester gets this all the time. Dogs come back to life. So she wants to know. So she can just make that dog active again. So if she searches here and a dog comes up as, if I search here, because I think I've got a ton of dogs in here because I play in here all the time, and I hit search, you can see here, I've designated Callie as inactive. That's what that line through it means. So if I have a rabies certificate now for Callie, somehow, and it matches a Chow Chow and she's red, that means my dog miraculously came back to life. So then she doesn't add it again. She would just go out and change it back to active. What does that do? That will then put all those charges back out there because that customer lied to you and said the dog had died when it did not. And now they're responsible for last year's tags and all the charges, as well as this current year. So if I was in Manchester, I would be looking this way. I would have done the dog name as Callie and the address of Main Street. And I would have listed it as both inactive and active and hit search. And then I would have seen, oh, this dog came back to life. That Patty Woolsey, she's pretty sneaky, isn't she? So then I could come over here. I can exit here instead of editing. And under maintain dogs, there's activate, activate an existing dog. This is how you take dogs off of your unlicensed report, basically. So if I looked up Woolsey, dog name of Callie, and search, you can see here it's inactive. I can click on it. I can click change down here. Do you wish to designate the dog Callie belonging to the owner Patricia Farnsworth Woolsey as active in the database? Yes, I do. Please enter the reason for activating this dog. Not dead. You put whatever you want. I don't care. I'm going to say okay. And now that dog is active. If I went to look at an unlicensed dog report right now, I should see Callie on that report. Should have probably gone to Woolsey. Callie right here is now showing as unlicensed again. So she will now get, if she does not get renewed, she will also get another civil forfeiture added on to her. So key here, when you're looking up information, you know, you can look it up by any of this. I could have just typed in Callie and I would have got search. I would have gotten any Callie that was in there. So there's an Anthony, Kathy, this other person, and then I, who all have dogs named Callie. Probably because I've entered them, because they're all chow chows. But they're all out there. If I need to edit a rabies on it, I simply select one and then come down here and hit select. The rabies information is down below. They might have gotten a new one, so I need to put the rabies expiration date now. And the new rabies tag number. And I hit save. Do you wish to update the dog's most recent license in addition to updating the dog record? I'd say yes. The dog edits were successfully saved to the database. Do you want to edit another dog? Yes, I do. You're going to keep doing this until you get through your pile. If you come across one that is not in here, you've searched, and the dog isn't here, put it aside, and then finish all the edits that you can. Then you have, say, one or two that need to be new. Once you do that, now remember, the customer is not here to license them. You just need to add the dogs to your system. So under maintain dogs, there's add a dog. This is how I end up with 1 million dogs listed under me, because I keep using them. You search for the owner. And now you come down here and fill out the information on the dog. We'll do Mustang. He was a mutt, but he was a cute mutt. He was part German Shepherd, so we'll just don't care. Now we're going to enter his breed and we're going to enter the color. Keep in mind, if you don't like the breed or the breed that you're looking for is not in this mix, you can come here and add a breed. But keep in mind, however you're doing it, if you're doing it as mix, add mix to whatever it is, whatever the breed you want. Don't do it as just an X, or keep it as clean your list as clean as possible. Don't duplicate things like Alaskan. Just don't do it as Alaskan KLEE and leave off the KAI. Why? Because you don't have, it's not, if you were to look for something, you want to keep this list as fresh as possible. But just keep in mind, anytime you see these little icons, it means you can add them, modify them, or do whatever. Same with this optional information on the vet. You don't have to put it in, but it's kind of handy because if you need to call that vet for any reason, you could pull this up and that vet number is right there. So I could click on here. If this all creatures mobile is not one that's in your town, delete it. Sure. Yeah. And it's gone. You can add, you can delete, you can modify, you can do whatever you need. I'm going to come here. We'll say he was brown. Perfect. He was a male. Sadly, he was not spayed or neutered. And six, blah, and the rabies expiration and the rabies tag number. The vaccination date. You don't have to use that. It's there if you want to use it. I believe the city of Manchester asked us to add it because they like to capture when the dog actually was at the vet to get it. If you want to use it, fine. Same over here. All this informational optional with this vet. You can pick one if you want, or you don't have to. The chip ID is kind of nice because if they have a chip ID and the dog is found, they could call your town and find out, hey, this dog is a chip. Do you know who it's licensed to? Perfect. Here's the chip ID. Well, let's do it as 1, 2, 3. Date of birth. This is the date of birth of the dog. Is it required on anything? No. Do you want to waste your time on it? Totally up to you. Would I? Probably not. But there are some towns, they're smaller. They like to be able to keep the date of birth of the dog. It's not the owner. That's under the owner file. This is the date of birth of the dog. If you don't know, but you want to keep it here, how old is the dog? We'll say the dog is 5. It'll approximate a date of death, but date of birth, sorry, here. I'm going to hit save. Do you want to add another one? Nope. We only had the one. So now we've added the dog, but now we need to do a rabies notice to him because that person has not licensed their dog yet. So I'm going to go to utilities. I'm going to go to rabies notification. This is for a dog that has never received one. Now we give them 14 days from today to get them licensed, but you can put it at whatever date you want. This is your pick. We just happen to pick 2 weeks. You can pick whatever you want. I don't know that there's a set law on it. If there is, go by the law, but I don't know. I'm going to do a recipient list and I'm going to hit view. And there it is. That's the one I just added, which was Mustang. I would print that out. And don't forget, printer icon is here. You can export any report by clicking on that little envelope, doing it as a PDF, saying okay, and saving it to your desktop. Then I would do the rabies notification. I'll show you the standard. A custom just allows you to put in what you want. I hit view. This is our standard letter. Let me make it a little bigger. It says, please provide this office has received notification from your vet that the dog listed below has recently had, this is because I'm zoomed out, rabies vaccination. And if you don't license your dog by 5:30 down here, we could issue a civil forfeiture. And then down here is the charge. And Alicia has decided she wants her signature put in here. So we have, so it prints on anything that doesn't have to be notarized for her. And down here is the section that tells them their fees. I would mail that out to your customer. And now they have the paper and now they're at your office to license it. They said, hey, I got your letter. I want to license my dog. You're going to come under license a new dog, up under licensing dog. Under licensing dog, everything but reprint has money involved. So your customer has to be here to do any of these. So when I go to license a new dog, has the dog already been entered into the system? Yeah, they have that piece of paper right there. Yes, they have. Who is it under? And it was for Mustang. And I'm going to hit select. Ah, look at that. I already have a group license that I have already licensed for 2024. So if I can pull this away here, hopefully that'll show it better. I've already licensed for 2024 Cooper, Ginger, Happy, Pepper, Piper, and Tippy. I got a lot of dogs, don't I? So these dogs here, these have all been licensed as a group. I probably did it sometime before April 30th. So I've already renewed all my dogs as a group. Now I have another new dog. We know there's a group out there. Do you wish to add this dog to the existing license? You should say yes. You don't want to charge this person for a single dog. They need to just add it to their group. So you say yes. Do you want to issue a new tag for this? So for a group license only, we have towns that will take their dogs and give them everyone in their dog the same tag number. So you can see in this case, all the dogs are tag number 4. We have other towns who said each dog gets their own tag number. In a group situation, that's the only time we will allow you to assign the same tag number to all 2 different dogs. So it's up to you guys on how you handle those, whether you want to give them new ones or not. I'm going to say no, and it will default to my tag number 4. If I had said yes, it would have allowed me to put in a tag number, my next tag number. I'm going to say no. It says there are no fees associated with this process. If you need to, you can reprint with the new dog added. So all it did is add it. I didn't have to do anything. Then I could come up here and reprint my license for the customer. Search. Here are my dogs. I hit print. Wants to print it. Let's see if I can do it as a PDF. And print. And we'll put it on my desktop. And now I should have something on my desktop here that should show us this group license. That's going to be under Patty Test. This is a group dog license. Normally, all your other dogs are single, one per license, but in a group, we'll give you all of the dogs in one big piece of paper. Make sense? Okay. So renew a dog's pretty simple. You just go in, you select a dog, and let's do one just to be safe. Oh, I probably shouldn't use me. Let's use GEER and search. So Roy has a dog here, a Shih Tzu. I select it. Now you can see down here, the rabies expiration date is in like a salmon color behind there. That's an indicator that rabies has been expired. So you can tell your customer, did you bring in the new rabies information? If they didn't, send them off because you have to have the new rabies information before you can license the dog. If they came with it, you can update it. The expiration and the new tag number. And then you put in your next tag. You hit next. And there you are. Now, if I was to do a group license to renew one, we have one here under FRENETTE, Karen. In search. All of hers needs updates, but if I hit select, just telling me she didn't do it last year. Could just be because I have old data. Now you can see everyone in here is a group. Here's where I can put my license number, a tag number. I can again put in the same tag number. I could put in 11 for that one and 11 for this one. and 11 for every one if I want to. Or I could be entering a tag for each dog. I come up here and I come back down for 13 here, put in 14 here, 15. Here is 16. She got a lot of dogs, or he does, I should say. And last dog is 17. Now I do need to update my rabies on each dog, sadly. Oop, I already messed up that one. 2-0. Now, the other thing you can do in a group license, so the customer is there and she goes, so she says, yeah, well, we don't have agent anymore. We have all the other dogs, but I don't have agent. You click on agent up here and then you come over to the right, you can hit remove. Do you want to remove agent from this license process? Yes. Do you want to designate agent as inactive so that the dog will not appear on future unlicensed reports? If they no longer have the dog, say yes. If the reason you're removing it is from this license process is because she needs an updated rabies, say no. So you got to answer these questions and understand what they're asking you. I'm going to say yes because she says she doesn't own it anymore. And put in a reason. Doesn't own anymore. And then I'm going to click OK. So there's outstanding charges. Do you want to forgive these charges? I'm going to say yes, because she hasn't owned it for a while. That gets rid of all those other ones. Now I'm good. I'm going to hit next. Oh, you could have also added another dog. If they also got a new one that you weren't aware of yet, you can hit add here. Do you want to add another dog to this owner's process? Sure. What's the dog's name? Lassie. I don't care what it is, and I don't care the color. And Lassie's a female. We'll say she was spayed. And blah. And next. And now I have a Lassie here. We need to designate Lassie. If you look in this license type here, that's what the charges are going to be. So it's a group. You need to make Lassie part of the group. So you need to designate Lassie as a group and put in Lassie's new tag number, 18. I'm going to hit next. Oh, I got to enter the dog's rabies tag number. Sorry, I forgot it. I'm going to hit next. Well, oh, this is the tag number. And then this is the back. That should be good. There we go. I think I had them in the wrong spots. Again, it's pulling in old stuff for this customer. It looks like she had a bunch of civil forfeitures on those dogs from last year that she did not license. So her $92 just has turned into $287. I'm sure she would love that right now. All right, so dogs, the only other thing you want to know about, really, there's a few things. Transfers are probably the least underutilized. Transfer of dogs license ownership within the community, that just charges $1.50 for someone in your town who gave their dog to someone else in your town. All it does is put the dog into the new owner's name. And they're already licensed. So it comes with just $1.50 fee. Transfer a dog's ownership from another community. I move into your town with my dog. I've already licensed it. I'm bringing in my license from Bristol. You can then put me in and then I get charged $1.50. Why do you want to do it? It's just in case the dog gets loose. They know how to find the dog.
Patty, can I just ask a question about the fees that we enter in? And I've seen it in some of our town clerk group forums. The question is there a rate? I mean, I know we pay a certain rate to the state at the end of every year, but is there guidance as to what we can charge for these particular, the puppy versus the neutered and spayed dog and an unaltered dog?
I believe there is. I believe, well, I can't, they updated your clerk website now so that I can't get into, because I'm not a clerk. So I can't get into and log into your clerk website anymore. So where it has, there was a section that said dog licensing with fees. There was a whole PowerPoint on it, which gave RSAs. It also gave the amount that you could charge. And that updated it. I think you could charge up to $9 or 10. You can add an extra dollar or something on there. So instead of $9, you can charge 10. Instead of $6.50, you can charge $7.50, I believe. I
Okay,
don't think it's a lot of difference. You get to pick whether the civil forfeiture on a group license goes for just the group, so the group only gets $25, or you can also designate it so that each dog gets hit with $25 as well.
okay,
But as far as the set fees, sadly, I can't get in there to show you because I would have gotten in there, but I can't access it anymore because you have to have a login now to get into
Okay.
your clerk's website, sadly.
I will
So-
go check. Thank you, though.
Yep. Now, on dog charges and fines, we used to have a dog officer in Bristol. We'd go out, and if someone was a menace, we used to go out and bring it back, give me a piece of paper that said this customer is supposed to come in and pay you a fine. So I would put, I can come under dog charges. The customer's not there. I can look up the dog. We'll go with Gibbs, Christopher, and search. He is Duke. We're saying Duke was a menace. It brings you here. This is what type of fee. He was a menace charge. We have it as a zero charge because it's a varying fee depending on whether we've been out there once or twice or 3 times. So we're going to say it comes with a $50 charge. It's on my paper. I say, okay. Okay. Wonderful. It just added it. Now, if that guy comes in to do anything, including his motor vehicle, that will show as that message at B settlement that says, hey, customer owes additional charges. It's automatically going to pull in that fee. Now this here, the customer came in and he says, well, I'm going to come here. We'll do one. We'll do an other town clerk service. And search. I'm in New Durham, so this is the one. And let's say he came to your office and he's getting a beach permit. And blah, 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 blah. And it's $5. So he's there. He's not telling you that he has an outstanding dog license. He's not telling you he has a menace fee out there. You get here. Additional charges have been found for this customer. Please verify before selecting. So I say, okay. And he also has an unlicensed dog. Okay. Look at that. There's my menace fee. He didn't even tell you he had a menace fee. And then he didn't license his dog for last year. And you still need to license his dog for this year. So right now, without even licensing his dog for 2024, he owes you $89 right off the bat for his little $5 beach permit, jumping in there to come in and see you. I'm going to also renew his dog. Because that was part of that menace thing. Yep. And I think we're at 12 maybe. I got to update his rabies. I'm going to hit next. Oh, I got to put a different number. Let's go 20 because I don't remember what number I'm at anymore. Oh, 19. So I'm going to say 19 here. And next. And now I have his dog licensed for this year as well. I can't stress enough. Dude, just because it pulls in something that says a 2023 unlicensed dog, so that only license, it's only collecting the fee for that year. You still need to license that dog for 2024. Now this customer is up to $110. Whoop, whoop. We're gonna collect that. We've collected the menace fee. We've collected last year's fee. He's getting his beach permit and he's licensed his dog for 2024 as well. Sure, he was a happy person coming to your window. That was dog charges. Okay, dog charges all live under utilities, and you go to charge maintenance. This is where all your dog fees live. Your civil forfeitures, your prior year's licenses, your menace fees. I can say I only want to see unpaids. These are people who owe money. You can see here, these were all the civil forfeitures they did last year for 2023. They all live here. If this customer, Ellie Mae's, the dog, Ellie Mae, is no longer in the town or passed away, you can forgive it right here. You could say, nope, I don't want to charge it. I'm going to hit forgive. And now that dog's gone because he's been forgiven. So just note, this is where you can do a lot of stuff out here. Now, I know we're running late on time. So I just want to show you the end of day stuff. Unless, I mean, I'm willing to stay for however long you want. I just want you to know that I just want to get through that so those that want to leave can leave. So at the end of the day, we hit the cart. I like to start with deposit. I hit deposit. Yep. And I'm here. I can look right down here and see that I should have 16 checks for $4,084.80, cash for $1,096. If I'm off somewhere, I can hit print preview. And it says preview to know that you have not hit deposit. I can get to, well, I can go back to the details page and see everything we've done let me make it bigger so everyone can see it. It will show me who's paid by checks. So this was a check for Vicky Black. She paid this by check. Here's where it shows my short slips. It'll show me everything that what I've done for work. So if I need to balance, I can now come here and look at the information without hitting deposit. You don't want to hit deposit until you know you're in balance. Why? Because you can do multiple things. You can do all kinds of things before you hit deposit. Once you hit deposit, it's like the money's at the bank. So if I had found someone, I went to cart maintenance, and someone here had paid really by cash, not by check, I can edit this before deposit. I can make this cash and say, okay. Now I can close that, go back to my deposit. And now I should check to make sure everything balances. If everything balances, I'm going to hit deposit. Yes. It prints out. Some of you may have this, some of you may not. This is what we call our deposit slip. Most banks won't take it, but some will take it if you attach your regular deposit slip with it. But even if they don't take it, it's a nice way of having something that lists out exactly who paid and what their checks were. And then you have your deposit, and it now has a deposit number. I could come here and make sure everything looks good here, that I had cash and check. And there's my short slip issued and my short slip payment. So that netted zero. This $5,991.77 is what you should be taking to the bank. If I go to the next page, this is what your finance needs. They want to have this because it shows them for dog late fees. This is their general ledger account number for 120. You had 5 dogs for 120. This gives their information to them to be able to balance and put the information into your general ledger. Once you've done your deposit, you need to click on the MAP Financial Closeout. This is what you're going to electronically transfer to the state. I'm going to hit print. I have a nice little report to print. And then you hit next, which I'm not going to do because I don't want to close out a map for my own self. but you would hit next and it should come up and say map financial closeout successful. If you get anything other than that, it's going to tell you, sorry, you need a supervisor override. Why could that happen? During the day, if you had voided something or you had done a registration in error, you called DMV, they voided it with a quote unquote short slip. And then you voided it on your end. That short slip amount needs to be added here. That's what we'll tell you. We're going to tell you at the end of the night, make sure you put that short slip that they're emailing you into this information here. That's one of them. We've also had it where you've called DMV, they voided it, but you never called us back. If I can tell you one thing that I would love for you to take out of this, if you call DMV to void something, don't call us later on in the day to void it as well. Call us right after you get off the phone, because however DMV voids it, we need to void it. If they voided it with a credit and they want you to leave that money in there, and then you say, oh yeah, I'm just going to blow by it and I can do that later, your client and your totals are off, and it's going to take us a long time for us to try to get that figured out on what happened. If you need something voided and DMV has to void it immediately after you're done with them, call us up to do the same on your work. It will save you and I a lot of heartache at the end of a day when everybody wants to go home because your totals are off. Because however DMV voids it, we have to match that. We have to do it on your end so that your financial closeout will be perfect at the end of the night. So don't just keep going on, because we have that a lot where they'll just say, oh yeah, I just want to get this customer out. That's, sorry, but if you don't do it, you're going to pay later on, because there's some that we can't, if you don't, especially where there was credits involved and you think, oh yeah, I just netted it out. Perfect. Then you're going to net it out manually, because we can't just magically make your numbers change to match what you think you netted out. Okay. So I may seem hard right now, but that is probably one of the more difficult things we at support have to try to fix, is when you blow by and just say, I don't care about my stuff. I want to get your customer out the door. You let them out that door and you've processed things that aren't going to match map. You won't. Your totals will not match at the end of the night. You need to call us as soon as you void that. Okay. That can make you off. And it can take a long time to try to figure out how to fix it. All right. That's my woe. All right. The other things you can print at the end of the night, if you go to reports, there is this thing called the daily transaction log. Some auditors, map auditors want them. Others could care less. So I'm not quite sure whether you want it or not, but I'm going to show it to you. This is just the state work that you did today. Only the state work. So this report, back in the day when I first started, used to be a manual thing that we had to do with every registration, handwrite on this piece of paper. That we did a registration for this person. It was a renewal. This was their plate number. This was their decal. And then this is the batch number now and the amount. So this amount down here should amount to the same as what you're transferring to DMV. And this is the detail behind that. Okay. I think those were the big ones. Is there things that we didn't go over that you would like to see while we're here? I mean, we didn't go over renewals. Would you like to go over the renewal notices and how you pull them in? Or are you guys good because Michelle's awesome and sends you instructions every month? You good?
I have a question on something.
Sure, absolutely.
And I'm only week 2 into this position.
That's awesome.
Um,
Good job.
yes.
Congratulations.
Thank you. I'm excited. So we came across non-sufficient funds check. Is that something you would go over here?
Sure. Do you want the collection of a non-sufficient fund check, or that? or the avoiding of that non-sufficient funds check?
Um,
You want to start with the void?
yeah, I guess like what you,
What's the process?
yeah,
Absolutely.
because it had us off and it took us 2 days to
Yep.
figure it out. And so I wanted to get the process, like you said, for
Sure.
each step of how it should be processed.
One of the things we say you should do, anytime you do any transaction in here, whether it's a void or a renewal or anything, it updates your deposit automatically in your regular deposit work. Most finance want your voids of a bad check separate. They don't want you including that with your regular day's work. So we advise you to create a user, and most of you probably already have it, but if you go to Utilities, System Administration, and under User Setup and Users, you're going to put in something that either says bad check or return check. I don't care what you add. We're going to say bad check. Oop, if I can spell. And we click OK. Yes, I've had my training for privacy. And make it a supervisor. You can't void. And then just check them. It doesn't matter. Now, this is the where you would put in the password as all little letters password, so you don't forget. This is not your MAP password. This is our local password. And then you hit save. And now there's a bad check user. When you have a bad check that you want to process in your system, you want to close out of your normal MAP user. You're going to start up the program and you are going to do it offline. You're going to do it as bad check user. Put in your password as password or whatever you created, and you click OK. This is going to avoid it from MAP seeing anything that you're doing. So I'm saying OK. And now I am in as offline MA, and you know that by this bright red down at the bottom. Then we're going to go to the cart maintenance. We're going to find someone who paid us by check right here. We're going to go to the returned payment tab. So this here, let's talk about just briefly. Once you select someone here, the cart tells you when it was done, who did it, whether it's been deposited or not. The town payments tab is how they paid you. State is usually only if you see something here, if it's a short slip. The cart transactions tells you everything that's in that cart that's going to be voided based on that returned payment. So I click on return payment. We know we have a check here. Once I hit that, I want to view the returned payment report. I'm going to click here. Would you like to flag the owner with a returned check, NSF check charge? I would say yes, I would, because you want them to pay your bad check. Now it's kind of weird because it shows that pending NSF check charges. We're going to say 1. There are some who have bounced multiples, which is why we allow you to do multiples. Some people in the cities get quite lengthy on how many charges they get. I'm going to hit save. And that was saved. Now this is the report that you should print out, because this shows everything that's in that cart before you voided it. Okay. This is going to become extremely important once you go to put this information back in, if they make that bad check good. You want to put this, print it out, put it in a folder, bad check folder if you have one. This starts that bad check folder on that person. Okay, so that's the report. I close it. For some reason, I have to hit uncheck and check it again. And now I have options. Every community does things differently. So some people will never hit process return payment right off. Some people will just hit view return payment. They would then go and send a letter to the customer without voiding anything. If the customer doesn't pay, Then they come in here and will process the return payment. There are others that say, as soon as I get that return payment back, I'm processing that return payment. I cannot tell you which process works best for you. That would be probably a conversation you'd want to have with your finance. Because I just went through it with a town where they did not want, the treasurer didn't want the clerk voiding it at all unless it became totally uncollectible. So they were going to give that customer a month to pay. And only once they were done that point would they process it as a return. So this is something you want to discuss probably if you don't have it in place now to know what you're doing, probably have a conversation with your finance. We're going to process this return payment. That means when I hit it here, are you sure all transactions in this cart will be voided? Are you sure you want to void this cart? I'm going to say yes. I've already done this NSF check charge on the owner, so I can say no. Now, if I come back to this cart transaction tab, I can see everything is voided. Now, the reason we did this under bad check user is because now I can come to the cart, hit deposit only from my bad check. I'll even preview it. This is taking it and just for my bad check. So your finance, when they get this, now see, this is the reversal of that payment. It's not mixed in with your daily work. It is a very clear report to put in. So when I'm here, I would hit, get out of that. I would hit deposit. And then I would give this to your finance and I would also attach a copy of that bad check maybe to it to show that I've reversed it. This would also go into I would keep a copy in your return check folder. Why? Just because I like everything handy. Now the customer comes back in. Oh, wait a minute. But so after we're all done, we've reversed it. We're all done now, right? Don't forget to get out and go back into your regular user. You don't want to be trying to process registrations or process anything under that bad check user. So be very careful. Log out, log back in as your user. If I type that right, whoop, there we go. Now you're ready to go back in and just start working again. So now your customer came in, you've done, well, I'll give you one other option. Your customer has not come in and paid. Never came back and paid you. You can come to utilities, system administration, and we have this thing called an administrative complaint. When I click here, I can, I didn't see who I did it under. Let me see here. Let me go back here. Figure out who I did it for. I forgot. Come on. Should have paid more attention. I think it was this one here. Karen. Karen. Frenettete. Is that? So we're going back to utilities, system administration, administrative complaint. And I can search for this person, Frenettete, because that's the person. I hit search. Maybe it was Aaron. If I typed it right. I know why. We have to hit new because we haven't done it. We don't want to search for it. It's not already out there. I have to hit new complaint. Been a while since I've done one of these. New complaint. There it shows for me who it is. Sorry, that was my bad. And then I hit select. And normally it will pop up, but for some reason it's not popping up for me. I'm going to have to check with Dave. But what it does is it'll pop up on there with the actual form that fills out that you need to send to DMV, and DMV will automatically revoke that person's registration privileges. Okay. So now you have an administrative complaint out there. You could put the date of the transaction is today. We'll say we gave notice today, even though that would be weird. Normally this would be the reason was for an insufficient funds. We'll put in blah, 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 blah. I don't know, PSS. Normally you'd fill this information in on the vehicle that you did. And here it is. Here's our administrative complaint. This you would send into DMV and they will then suspend the customer's registration privileges until they pay you and they pay them. Now they're going to end up owing more because DMV also gets because they had to send an officer out, they're now going to charge that customer as well. Now the customer comes in to pay you. Now you have options, okay? So the customer comes in to pay. You're going to pull out that bad check folder and remember that report you printed out. That's how you have to get that information back in. Now the question becomes, and this is another question that you would have with your finance. Do you put the collection of that on its own deposit? Or can it go in with your regular day's work? If it needs to go back in as its own deposit, you would then want to log out of here and go back in offline, bad check. And then you want to collect it. You want to put back in everything that's already that you took out. So that's where that report comes in handy. And then to get the motor vehicle back in, you're going to go to utilities, system administration. And then there's this thing that says pay return payment fees, additional revenue. So I click on that. It says, who is your customer? FRENETTE, Karen. And search. Selector. It says okay. We want something in here that calls for MV revenue. This is your return check where you're putting back that motor vehicle revenue back into your account. That's why you have to have that report, because you need those individual fees that you charge the customer. So I'm going to hit next. What was the agent fee? $3. What was the permit fee? We'll say, I don't remember, but we'll say it was $4.58. What was the clerk fee? I don't know, $2. I'm making this up as I go along. The application fee, maybe you didn't have one, so I can leave it as 0 and I can say, okay, but it'll be 0. Is that correct? Yes. How about a transfer fee? We didn't have one. Will that be 0? Yes. The mail-in fee, we'll say it was $1. And now I'm here. And it also brings in the $25 now return check. And all of her dogs. Remember, because into that cart that we voided, all of these fees then went back on. And you would also need to then go and relicense that dog, because when you voided that transaction, the dog became unlicensed then. So you need this fee here to equal exactly whatever it was that you voided on that returned cart. If it does, you simply, how did they pay you? I would have made them pay me in cash. And then we'll make this here. I don't think it's necessary, but, and you collect it. Nope. Now you need to come and do your deposit. If you are doing it under your bad check, you hit deposit for that user. And now you have the collection of that bad check. This would be the collection portion only. So if you want it separate, where you have the void done and then you want the collection of it done also, you would log in. The key is logging in with bad check each time you do it. Okay. Once you're done that, you close out of there, go back in as online. And that's basically your whole return check process. Anything else you had there that you might have come across that you might want to know about?
Not at the moment, I don't think. I know you're recording this. Is there a
Yep.
way for me to access this again?
Absolutely. You can send me an email. Takes it a
Okay.
little while after I'm done. Because it's a pretty big video. But
Yep.
once it's done, if anybody wants the recording, if you send me an email, I will then forward it on to you.
Okay, great. It had my computer froze up midway during that explanation.
Oh
So
no.
I only got the beginning and the tail end. So
And that just keep in mind the next time you get one and you want to have the discussion, give us a call and we can go over the options for you as well.
fantastic.
Yep,
Thank you.
you're welcome. Does anybody else have any other questions before we call it a day? I hate to keep you longer than I've already kept you almost an hour longer than what it was, but there's a lot to clerk and we didn't even hit everything. So is everybody good? All right, then I wish you all a good day and I'd say enjoy the weather, but I'm not quite sure if it's doing anything but raining out there. So thank you all for coming and we'll have more, I'm sure, along the way and hope to see you then.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Take care.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.